Gentlemen, what is going on today? My name is Ryan Mickler, and I am the host and the founder of the podcast and the movement that is Order of Man. We are coming up, believe it or not, it's pretty insane for me to think about, our 5-year anniversary, which will be in May of this year. So, man, what can I say other than thank you? Thank you for believing in what we're doing here. Thank you for being an inspiration and even holding me accountable to a degree. And thank you for stepping up as men inside the walls of your home and your businesses, as a neighbor in your community and all the other facets of life that you're showing up as. I want to bring you the best conversations this year. And I realized that to some degree over the past 12 months or so, I've been playing it a little bit safe, and I've rested on my laurels to some degree, and I don't want to do that anymore. So come 2020, we're going to be releasing some new conversations with some incredible people, as we have over the past 4 or 5 years now. But we're going to also be releasing some new products and courses and tools that you can use and have at your disposal to make yourself more capable as a husband, a father, a business owner, a community leader, every facet of life that you're showing up as. And we're going to continue to level this thing up, because as we continue to go through our lives, it's more and more common that I think we've fallen from the place that we once held the title of man. So it's my job to reclaim and restore masculinity through this conversation, through those courses, through the tools and the resources that I provide to you, along with my team, because we've got some great guys who are fully vested in what it is we're doing, and we're all in this together. So I've got a good one lined up for you today, guys. I want to talk with you about overcoming the guilt of self-improvement. Now, we're rolling into 2020. It's very likely that you are trying to improve. Maybe you're trying to get into the gym, maybe read a little bit more, maybe you're taking some schooling or education or courses, but there's probably, when you're on the path to improvement, some time that you're going to need to step away from other responsibilities and obligations that you have, namely your family. And the reason I wanted to talk with you about this today is because over the past week, I was on a hunt. I was gone for about 6 days in Arizona. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to put everything together and came away with a tag that wasn't filled, but I had a great time. And I thought about a lot as I was sitting trying to look for deer and trying to do the thing, why I felt completely okay with being gone. Because this is something that I've struggled with for a very, very long time. I struggled with the ability to reconcile the idea that I had to take care of myself and that also I had to take care of others. And I think this is something that a lot of men struggle with. A lot of men deal with this, so much so that they decide not to take care of themselves and instead pour everything into their family, their wife, their kids, and their other obligations. Now look, this is noble. It's noble to want to serve others. In fact, the core tenets of what we talk about with regards to masculinity, protect, provide, preside, all at their most foundational and fundamental level have an element of service. I believe to be a good man means you need to be in service to those you care about and those who cannot take care of themselves. But that also means you, and it starts with you. If you're trying to be a protector, a provider, presider to others, but you can't protect, provide, and preside over yourself and for yourself, it isn't going to be long before you burn up and burn completely out and potentially crash and burn and jeopardize what you're working so hard to create. A family life, a family dynamic, a powerful relationship with your wife, deeply connected with your children. If you can't learn to take care of yourself, you jeopardize those relationships. But again, the major reason I think that a lot of guys don't take care of themselves is because the guilt associated with being gone, or the guilt associated with having to invest, potentially even at the expense of time or money or other resources, with the people that we care about. So what I thought I'd do today is share with you some simple strategies or some simple thoughts, more mindsets than strategies, into how I've been able to reconcile being away and serving myself, and even being a little bit selfish, but also taking care of my family and realizing that I have these other obligations as a man that I'm happy to step into, but they are responsibilities and obligations that I feel compelled to fulfill because I've signed on the dotted line that says I will uphold these responsibilities and obligations. So the first thing that I'm going to share with you, and I'm just shooting off the hip a little bit here today. I didn't take any notes because, again, I'm just getting back and I wanted to make sure I got this Friday field notes to you, is that I've spent a lot of time in building up what I can only term as human capital. Now, I know that might be maybe not the best way to say it. Maybe you can help me with another way to say it, but essentially it's human capital. It's resources and time and energy and sacrifices that I've poured into my family, that I've taken care of. I make those sacrifices. When I'm home, I try to be fully present and aware. I try to be a man of my word. I don't always get it right, but when I mess up, I apologize. I fix the behavior. I fix the situation as quickly as I can. And because I pour a lot of resources, time, energy, attention into my family, it's not so hard for them to understand that occasionally I'm going to need to be away. Like I was on a hunt last week, or if I have to go to a conference, or I have a speaking engagement, or another opportunity to be on a podcast or something like that. They don't take it so hard because when I'm home and I'm pouring into them fully. I think we run into a problem when we don't pour into our family fully and then we leave. And us leaving to take care of ourselves compounded with the fact that even when we were there, we weren't really emotionally and mentally present. You combine those two things, and it's no wonder that your wife's going to be upset that you're gone, or your kids aren't going to understand why you don't want to be around them, and that's going to create some animosity and some bitterness and some contention. So the first things first is that, guys, we've got to be more present. When we're at home, we have to be at home, and I'm not talking about physically. Obviously physically. I'm talking about mentally. I'm talking about emotionally being there, being present, being engaged, and being fully available. This is also very difficult in my line of work because my line of work is quite literally on this device right here. So I can take this device and I have 100% 24/7 access to my work, which gets in the way of the family stuff. Turn the devices off, free yourself of distraction, be fully present for your family, and you'll have an easier time reconciling this idea between taking care of them and taking care of yourself. Number 2 is, if you want to make sure that you're comfortable with this, then you need to communicate these things effectively. All right, it's very, very important that you learn to be a great communicator, because what I see a lot of guys do is they'll have this desire to go take care of themselves and to serve themselves in some capacity, but they won't communicate it effectively to their wife or their kids or whoever else may be impacted by the decisions that they're going to be making. All right, nobody can read your mind. And you might think, oh, my wife's good with this, my kids understand. Just assume that they don't. Make the assumption that they don't understand. It's better to assume that they don't than it is to assume that they do. Even if they do, but you communicate it effectively as to why you're taking care of yourself, they're going to understand that more. It's going to make sense to them, and they're going to be more supportive of that decision. Speaking of supportive, I would also suggest that you become supportive of them taking care of themselves. I know that early in my marriage, I used to get upset and guilt my wife when she wanted to go hang out with her girlfriends or hang out with her family or just spend some time for herself. I'd make her feel bad about that. I'd make her feel guilty. And that was selfish. Bottom line, that was selfish. It was that I wanted her there, or, whatever it was. It was just a really weird thing that I did. And I'm sure that there's guys listening to this that do the same thing, because if she's gone, then you have the obligations and responsibilities. Maybe you have to do more with the kids or pick up the slack because she's not there. And so you're going to make your wife feel guilty for going to take care of herself. But tell me this, what right do you have to take care of yourself if you aren't willing to support her or your kids in taking care of themselves? Yes, there are sacrifices. Yes, it's going to be a little bit harder. Yes, you're going to take on some new roles and duties as your wife maybe is away. But if you let her, maybe not let, but if you help and encourage and foster the idea that she needs to take care of herself, then I think you'll have a less of a difficult time feeling comfortable when you're taking care of yourself. And she'll see how powerful that is for her, She'll see how powerful it is for you when you take care of yourself, and all will be better when you encourage other people to take care of themselves. The next point that I was thinking a lot about is that we as men have an opportunity to be an example. I mean, that's really what leadership is all about. It's about setting the tone. It's about dictating the course of direction. And it's about leading the way so that other people can see. And I've realized that when I go out, like a hunt or an activity or jujitsu or whatever it is that I'm doing on a daily basis, that I'm showing my wife and kids an example of placing value in who I am as an individual. Because when you value something, what do? You give it time, attention, energy, resources. You invest in the thing that you value, whether that's your family or literal investments or exercise or food, whatever it is, that's where you're going to place your emphasis and attention. So if you value yourself, then it's safe to assume that you should also give yourself time, attention, energy, and other resources. And when you do this and your family sees it, then you give them permission to do the same, and you help them see and recognize that we need to take care of ourselves individually. And the more that we take care of ourselves individually, guys, the better off that everybody's going to be. Ourselves, the people we're serving, and that leads into the next point, which is when you leave and you invest in yourself, you have to come back a new, improved, better version of yourself. And I'm not saying a 180-degree difference, but there has to be some measurement of improvement in your life, because the people who are impacted by you being away need to see that that's an investment not only in you, but it also serves them. Because if they recognize, oh man, Ryan went on this hunt and he was really stressed out before he left, and then he left for 6 days and he came back and he was a jerk, and the house wasn't how he wanted, and we had to pick up all the collateral damage because he was frustrated because he had to catch up on all his work. That's not a great way to show the people you care about that it's good for you to go take care of yourself. Instead, you should come back recharged, rejuvenated, more able to engage fully, to be present with them, and they should recognize a noticeable difference. And by the way, if the activities that you're going into engage with to improve yourself aren't helping you feel that way, then maybe you need to reassess the activities that you're engaged in, because they should be activities that edify you, that fulfill you, that satisfy you, that push you in a healthy way and uplift you. And as a natural result of those types of activities, you're going to come back a more capable, better, engaged, loving father. And if you can connect the dots by communicating, which is a point I made earlier, that you're a better person because of it, then your wife is going to encourage you to go. Your kids are going to be happy when you go take care of yourself. Guys, this is critically important things, and I just don't want you to feel any guilt for taking care of yourself. I know some of you listening might think, well, this is not an issue. This is not a big deal. I've never felt guilty about taking care of myself, but I would suggest that most men have felt this way. Have felt like you're jeopardizing your other obligations. You're not. I don't want you to burn up. I don't want you to burn out. I want you to come to the table, your relationship with the people you care about, satisfied, fulfilled, capable. And the only way to do that is to take care of yourself, is to make sure that you fill your cup. So I hope that helps. I know this one was fairly quick today, but really there's not a lot to it other than wrapping your head around the mindset of this is good for you. It's good to be an example to your family. It's going to help you sustain the quality of leadership that you want to exhibit in the walls of your home and in your business and community and the other facet of life that you show up as a leader. And it's going to help you be more productive, more fulfilled, more satisfied, more content with life. And then, of course, help others do the same, which isn't that the point of leadership? To help other people get to a place that maybe they could not have imagined or even had the capability of going to on their own. So like I said, as I open this conversation today, if you have additional thoughts, share with me on Instagram. All right, I spend a lot of time on Instagram. If you want to connect with me, I'm very active there. Hit me up in the DMs or drop a comment on one of my posts referencing this, which I made a couple of days ago, and that can be found at Ryan Michler. My last name is spelled Michler. If you're here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe because I'm putting out, I think, between the podcast and other videos that we put out anywhere between 3 to 5 videos a week. So we're very active over here as well. But leave some comments below and let me know what thoughts you've had about taking care of yourself and how you've reconciled the idea between taking care of yourself and also taking care of others. All right, guys, thanks for being on the path with me in this journey and this battle to reclaim and restore masculinity. We'll keep going. Make sure you subscribe wherever you are. And we'll be back on Tuesday for a powerful conversation with my wife. I'm going to be talking with my wife on the podcast because I know a lot of you guys are interested in that and getting her perspective on some of these things as well. So tune in, subscribe, and we'll catch you next week. Until then, go out there, take action, and become the man you are meant to be.